Hello, knowledge hackers. Mike Impulgato here, your game master for the game of life today. We will be covering two most important things that we have to start with, okay? One thing is preparing the character, building the character for the game, and the other one is choosing one of the three main strategies that we have for the game of life. But before we're gonna dig into this one, I wanted to inform you, those of you who still are not into the Knowledge Hacker podcast community, you should definitely go there because there will be more information over there for you. I'm not able to tell you every single thing over here, go through examples of different students, okay? But in the podcast, in the episode of podcast, you'll be able to see hands-on experience of different students from different places around the world, different strategies they took, if it worked, if it didn't work, okay? So if you want to know more about that, you should definitely go and join our podcast over there. New episodes are coming every few days, and you can hear stories of other students, okay, who already went through the process or are in the middle of the process. And more so, you can actually be also one of these students who are joining the podcast live, okay? And we will be going through your specific example. So we might help you set up your character and your strategy for the game, okay? That will be super awesome, right? But no matter that, you still can use all the information from Knowledge Hacker podcast because, like I said, we're going through many different examples and you have much more information over there, okay? And it's a super cool thing to listen to during your workout, during your commuting time to school and back from school, right? So you can always find sometimes when you can listen to an episode. It's more or less around 20 minutes each episode. So I strongly recommend, guys, to listen to that as well. But for today, we're going to be covering these two things. In one of the last episodes of the podcast, I was actually talking a little bit more about building the character, how important it is. And I was giving a really cool example because you were able to see it on a different game, right? Like there's a Game of Thrones, maybe some of you play, right? This is an RPG game when you actually have to choose the house first, right? If you're a Lannister or if you're a Stark or if you're a Targaryen, right? Greyjoy, whatever. You choose the house and then within the house you choose a character, right? And these characters, different houses and different characters have different superpowers, right? Different skills and different powers, two different superpowers, different influence, right? So depending on who you are, you're playing the game totally different way, right? You're not going to be playing the same way no matter the character, right? If you're a Targaryen, you will go for dragons, right? But if you're a Stark, you're not going to go for dragon, right? So you know the thinking, right? You know the process. So for today, you know that building the character in any strategy RPG game is always the first thing you do. Before even starting playing the game, you're choosing the character and you're reading through all the information that they give you about this character, right? What are the superpowers? What this character can do, right? All these different options. This is important because this shows you how you can play the game later, right? What strategy to use. Okay, and in real life, it's a little bit more complicated because now nobody's giving you your superpowers. You have to find it on your own. But we're helping with that, okay? You don't have to find it by yourself, like on your own, right? At home, closed, behind the door. You can actually join the Me Lab, okay? Me Lab is nothing else than a time that we're sacrificing for learning about ourselves, okay? And more specifically about your superpowers, okay? Your weaknesses, because you need to know that too. If you have a weakness, right? If the character has a weakness in the game, that means you should avoid certain things, right? The same in life. If you have a weakness, if you don't like something, you're very poor at something, right? Like for example, me, I'm poor at spelling. I have this orthography, right? From the moment I was in grade 3. right? And from that moment, I already knew that like, writing was probably not gonna be my thing, right? But today we have computers and they correct your spelling mistakes and stuff like that. So, you know, I can still do what I do, right? And so, but I don't want to be like a writer, right? Or somebody who's publicly writing all the time, right? Well, although I do write something, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's not gonna be something I'm gonna base my strategy on, okay? But that list is very important, right? So we have a list of weaknesses, we have a list of superpowers, okay? And then we can also think about how we can link it to the game later, right? How we can use that, right? The whole thing. So the Me Lab is giving you all that, all right? You will have this in front of you and you can be able to pretty much read all these information about yourself from the paper, just like you're doing it in a game, right? You're taking a game, boom, and okay, this is my character. I know what I can do with this guy, right? With this person, we can play now, right? Same here. You went through Me Lab, and you can play, right? Then you can start planning the strategy. So let's say we got that covered. We're gonna be doing this first, guys. So don't worry. You don't know how to do. You don't know what are you good at or what are you not good at, right? Like, you might be like just like me. When I was in high school, I was pretty good at everything. You know, I had like all the grade, I aced everything and I didn't have much trouble with anything besides spelling. But, you know, everything else, I was pretty much good at everything. And you'd throw at me something new and after a while I was okay with this, right? Not super good, but okay with everything. Now that I didn't have this one thing that I really liked, right? Then later on, some people helped me. Turns out I was a little bit more into math, a little bit more into sports, right? And I figured out something out of that. But like I said, we will cover all that in Me Lab. We have tools and strategies that basically are making all this process of creating the character, meaning learning about you, very easy. All right, so this is not a big deal. We can cover that. Not only this, but also for some of you, it's gonna be even super fun part because over here we will be creating the live boot camps, guys. It's gonna be called College Hacker Bootcamp. All right, and that bootcamp will be pretty much dedicated to Me Lab. So we'll be learning about yourself while being around your friends from your school or from the schools around the place that you live, right? So you all go for a weekend camp somewhere, right? Depending in where you are in the world. We're gonna create these boot camps in different places in the future, starting obviously in strategic places where we have partners, but don't worry, it will spread, right? So we will get there. We will get there. And while you're in this camp, you're pretty much having a super good time with your friends, playing paintball, taking part in MasterChef classes, and some other activities that we planned for you. But those are very strategic activities because during those activities, we are actually going to collect some information. And you will be collecting information about yourself and about your friends as well. And that will help you create your character for the game, right? Discover your powers and weaknesses, right? Sounds awesome? I think so. At least I tell you, if I'm a student and somebody is giving me this, I just go there and stay there forever. But okay, so we have this covered. Let's say we got the character done, okay? And then the strategy. So today, I'm just gonna tell you the 3 different options that we have, okay? And then later on, we're gonna talk more about this. Also during the different episodes, through different episodes of Knowledge Hacker Podcast, you will learn a little bit more about all these different options and not only learn about the theory, but actually learn about the history, stories of other college students who already been doing all these 3 different strategies, okay? So, option number 1, you can be a rebel. Option number 2, you can be a trooper. And option number 3, you can be a mercenary, okay? And let me just explain very quickly today what are those 3 options. So let's say we're talking about here college hacking right now, okay? This is the chapter of the game when we're hacking college right now, okay? So if you're a trooper, that means you're pretty much set for your college. You know what you want, and not only you know what you want from the college, but also you pretty much know what you want to do after the college, right? So you have like pretty much organized plan in your head, right? And it's just a matter of choosing the best college there that will give you everything that you need in order to get where you want to be after the college, right? So this is for the guys who are actually already started to think about this college much earlier, had, for example, a lot of help from counselors, schools, parents. Maybe those are the guys, for example, from IB schools who have wellness programs and stuff like that, right? Because they have a lot of extra information about the system in general, the higher education system, and about how it works, and they help them in the school to think about all this, right? The strategy. So those are the troopers. They will probably follow the funnel of higher education system. They will play their game, even though, I don't know if you remember, but I said in my first video, according to statistic, only 2% of students are actually happy going through this funnel that the higher education system is giving them. Okay? And that is very important to remember. But don't worry, because that doesn't mean that 98% of students are not happy. It only means that 98% of students didn't succeed in this strategy. All right, this strategy only brought 2% of students to the success, and other students, they either found another strategy or they failed. Okay, so in this we still have 3 scenarios. Okay, so some of these percentage will be here, some of these percentage will be here, and some of them will unfortunately lose, or at least they will be losing for a while, and maybe they will find their way later, like I did, for example, because I chose my first university wrong, right? Totally wrong. I lost, and then after a while I discovered the whole thing, how it works. I chose my strategy. That was my strategy, and then I started to win. Okay, so don't worry. There is not like, oh, you chose wrong and now you're gonna be losing. No, the moment you will find out how to play, you can still start winning, because it's a pretty long game, the game of life, right? So that's pretty much the troopers, right? We covered the troopers. Those are the guys who are going according to the higher education system that it is today, and it's still working for them. You have to make sure that it's working for you, right? So you are the right character for this thing, because it can work if you're the right character. Okay, then you have the mercenary. Mercenary is a person who is actually doing, or maybe, you know what, I'm gonna start with the rebel, because it's gonna be easier. So the rebels on the other side are the opposite of the troopers. They totally don't believe that this higher education system is gonna give them anything. Okay, but in the rebels, within the rebel big strategy, you can have a lot of different tactics. Though the rebels might be the people who pretty much just skip the whole education altogether, and they just go to work. They just want to start to work right away, as fast as possible. Learn through experience. Option, very good option, especially if you know where to work, or you have an option to work in something that is, expanding and not caving in, right? Like, for example, all the different stuff related with the computers, right? The computer science. with social media, internet, all this, right? Definitely going to be expanding. So if you know how to do any of these things and you start very early in your life, that's that you are a rebel and you can be successful, okay? But rebels are also the guys who want to learn. They want to learn. They want to find people who will teach them stuff. Okay, and but they don't go to school. They don't go to traditional school like troopers. They would go to school, to independent schools, online courses, all the cutting edge technology education stuff that nobody else believes yet that it's useful, right? They do all these kind of stuff that are just brand new, right? All the early adapters, for example, all rebels, right? So they're against the mainstream, and you can succeed like that as well. You just need to know which stuff to choose. So there are also traps in this. You just have to know what to do. But later we're going to cover all this, so you can be, like I said, successful in on all three strategies. Depending which character you are, you have to choose the strategy for your character, right? Simple. And then going back to the last one, so Mercenary, right? So this is the guy who basically combines the two over here, right? So he's not completely a rebel, but he's also not a trooper, right? Meaning that he is using the traditional education system, right? The higher education system, colleges, universities, normal schools, like offline schools, but he is going there and he has very specific jobs for this institution to do for him, right? So he's not just believing that this system is gonna take him to the other side because he has everything, he is the right character for this. These guys are actually not the very good fit for the regular schools, and that's why they might be struggling. They cannot just go there and believe that everything will just fall in place. It will not, right? And that's why I know that, because I am Mercenary, right? I went to the first school, I went to the best school in my country, right? Even though I didn't pay for my school because I'm from EU, right? From European Union, we don't pay, but it doesn't matter because I put so much effort into getting into this school. I think 1:7 was the ratio, right? When I was going to school. That means for my place, there was 6 other people, right? So I got into my school and then I had to study so hard for the first 2 years of my university. I didn't have time for anything else. No social life, no partying, no traveling, no nothing. It was just learning. So it wasn't fun and I sacrificed a lot, even though I didn't pay money for it like US guys has to pay, right? I still paid because all the time that I sacrificed for my college, I could go and work. How much money I can earn during that time, during 2 years, you know? So it's still alternative cost, okay? And it didn't work for me. But then later, when I went back to the school to do my master degree, I already had a plan, right? I already had a plan. I already had a mission from outside, right? So I knew, because my employer told me, I'm gonna give you a raise, this much, right? If you're gonna go to find a school that will give you a master degree in early childhood education, right? So it was super easy for me. I went and chose the cheapest possible school, also the school that I'm not gonna have to invest too much my time and effort to just get my paper, right? And I got the paper, I got my raise, boom, done, right? I did the mission, I got the money. I'm a mercenary, okay? So this is actually a very big group, guys. And a lot of people will fall into this specific group. So you want to suck out the most out of the existing education system, but you're also aware that there are other ways where you can get your knowledge, where you can get your connections and skills that will help you to win the game of life. Okay? So those are the 3 most important strategies, okay? And we will be discussing them closely later on, okay? But for now, we are here, guys. We are here and we'll be focusing a little bit more on building our character, learning about superpowers, learning about weaknesses, because that is how deciding which strategy you need to choose will be so much easier, okay? So for today, that's all, folks. I hope you're gonna enjoy the game of life as much as I am enjoying it. And I want to see you guys in Knowledge Hacker Podcast. I want to see you here in this group. Go invite your friends. Don't be selfish. If you're here, you already made a super good decision. And then you have to just go and tell your friends, because they have to come and join us. Not only for their sake, but also for our sake, because it's going to be so much more fun playing with other players, guys, okay? Even the Me Lab, like I said, you can't do that alone, and we're gonna do an online version for Me Lab as well. But it will be so much more fun if you can actually go out there for one weekend and hang out with friends from your school, from other high schools around your area, and play all different games and get your sheet with superpowers, with weaknesses, and linked it to the game. Okay? So I'll be seeing you soon, guys, on the next video. In the meantime, please say hi, introduce yourself, ask questions. Remember, who's asking will be answered, okay? Don't be shy. If you don't want to be in public here, you can send me a DM or communicate through other more private options, okay? At the same time, do tell about this whole thing to your parents, because we will be helping not only you, but also be helping your parents understand how this education system today is working, okay? Because parents, sometimes they can help you, but sometimes they can actually disturb you, okay? They can pull you to the wrong side, and because you will be wanting to please your parents, you will choose the wrong strategy. You don't want that. But we can help with that, okay? It's not black magic over here, okay? We're not inventing the wheel again. This is all based on research, guys, okay? I'm not one mad scientist over here. We have college professors on board. We have high school professors as well, lecturers. We have researchers. All the research is actually based, I don't know if I have my book today, I don't have it right now. I'll show you it next time. The research is based on researchers from American Institute, Christensen Institute, Professor Christensen Institute from Harvard, and two of his students, Michael B. Horn and Bob Moesta, were actually doing the field work. They were talking with 1,000 students, then created a book based on 200 cases of different students. They created the frame, and they gave us all the data that I'm giving you. It's not from my head. This is real, okay? And I can prove it. I can prove it not just to you, but to your parents, so they will see that this is all real. Okay, we are playing a game, yes, but the statistics, the rankings, the ratios, the rubrics are all real. This is real life, okay? We're not kidding over here, and they can see it because papers like Forbes, Economist, Guardian, news like CNBC, all these media, they are giving us the same statistics, okay? Everywhere. And we can provide that with no questions. You will see it all over here without wasting extra time. So we can convince your parents as well that this is what you need to do before you go to college, okay? Before you go to college, you need to have this, okay? You need to build your character, you need to choose your strategy, and then you're ready for college online course, whatever that is, depending on the strategy, you'll be ready and you will know what you're doing. Okay? So I hope that it's super helpful. Drop me some comments below and invite your friends, okay? Let's crack the code together and win the game of life. Cheers, guys.